A photograph is a moment, frozen in time, a memory, a story. But what if the story it tells is one of pure terror? In 2014, 2 young women vanished on a hiking trail in Panama. 10 weeks later, their backpack was found. Inside, a digital camera held their final moments. The first photos show a happy adventure. The last 90, taken in the dead of night, are a fever dream of darkness and desperation. This camera was the only witness to their disappearance, and the story it tells isn't of getting lost. It's of being hunted by something unimaginable, leaving behind a set of digital ghosts that investigators are still trying to understand. This is Kris Kremers and Lisan. In March 2014, the 2 Dutch students arrived in the picturesque mountain town of Boque, Panama. It was a graduation trip, a chance to learn Spanish, volunteer with local children, and explore the country's stunning natural beauty. On the morning of April 1st, they decided to take a short hike. The plan was to walk the famous El Pianista Trail, a popular, well-marked path that leads to a scenic overlook and back. They were young, healthy, and prepared for a brief afternoon excursion. They had brunch, posted on Facebook, and set off towards the trailhead, a friendly local dog trotting along beside them. It was the last time anyone would see them alive. When they missed an appointment with a local tour guide the next day, the alarm was raised. An intensive search began, with helicopters, canine units, and local guides scouring the jungle. But the dense Panamanian wilderness, beautiful from a distance, is a brutal, unforgiving labyrinth up close. Days turned into weeks. There was no sign of Kris and Lisan. They had simply vanished. For 10 agonizing weeks, there was nothing but silence. Then, a local woman working in a rice paddy miles from the trail found a blue backpack washed up on a riverbank. Inside were Lisan's passport, sunglasses, some cash, to brass, and to cell phones, and Lisan's Canon digital camera. The contents of the phones and camera gave investigators their first real clues, painting a chilling timeline of desperation. Just hours after their hike began, at 4:39 p.m. on April 1st, the first emergency call was made from Kris's iPhone to 112, the Dutch emergency number. Minutes later, another attempt from Lisan's Samsung to 911. Neither connected due to a lack of service. Over the next 10 days, the phones were periodically switched on, likely to check for a signal. After April 5th, there were multiple failed login attempts on Kris's iPhone. The chilling implication is that Kris was no longer able to operate her own phone, and Lisan, who didn't know her passcode, was trying to get in. But the camera held the most disturbing evidence of all. The first photos on the memory card, time-stamped April 1st, are exactly what you'd expect. Happy selfies of Kris and Lisan on their hike, smiling against the beautiful landscape. They reached the summit, the Mirador, at the top of the Continental Divide, but then they made a fatal error. A single photo shows them having walked past the summit, leaving the marked trail and heading down into the remote, unforgiving jungle on the other side. They were officially lost. This is where the story turns from a tragedy into a terrifying enigma. For 7 days, the camera was not used. Then, on April 8th, something prompted one of the women to turn it on. Between 1 a.m. and 4 a.m., in complete darkness, someone took 90 photos. Most are pitch black, taken just seconds apart. The flash fires into nothingness. But some capture bizarre, fleeting images. A plastic bag and candy wrappers arranged on a rock. A twig with a plastic bag tied to it. The back of Kris Kremers' head, with what appears to be an injury or blood in her hair. It's a disjointed, terrifying glimpse into their final days. Were they using the flash as a light source to navigate in the dark? Were they trying to signal rescuers? Or were they documenting something around them, something that terrified them? One photo, image 509, was deleted from the camera, though forensic teams later recovered it. Why delete just one photo in a sequence of 90? The night photos are a message from the abyss, and no one can decipher it. Over the following months, bone fragments were discovered scattered along the same river where the backpack was found. DNA confirmed they belonged to Kris and Lisan. The official ruling was that the women had gotten lost, one was likely injured, and they succumbed to the elements. A tragic hiking accident. But the lost theory fails to explain the most disturbing evidence. Why did they wait hours to make the first emergency call? Why take 90 photos in the dark, a full week into their ordeal, when conserving battery should have been paramount? Why were the brass neatly folded in the backpack? And why did some of the recovered bones appear to have been bleached? The official story tells of an accident. But the digital evidence whispers of something else. The photos are the final fragmented testimony of Kris Kremers and Lisan. They are digital ghosts in a machine, telling a story of two young women who walked past a point of no return. But whether they were lost to the jungle alone, or to a far more human darkness hiding within it, is a secret their last haunting images have taken to the grave. Were the photos a desperate tool for survival, or a terrifying record of their final, horrifying moments? The line between accident and something else has never been so blurry. If you were chilled by this digital mystery, wait until you delve into the unsolved case of the Yuba County Five. The men who drove into a mountain wilderness and straight into one of America's most baffling mysteries